Hey groupies, what's happening? You know, I decided to make this video. It's As I was thinking back to about 2 years ago, about my mother, and of course, it was about 7 months later she died after that. Um, I don't like her because she was a liar and she was greedy. And I think her own ignorance is actually what caused her death. Even though she was 87, it was her own dumbass ignorance. But this is about not about identity theft. It's about identity. Like if you own some property, if you have a savings account and you have a checking account or any credit cards you may have, do you know if you don't have these items with proof, at hand proof, do you know if something happened, if you were out there and had to be taken to some county emergency room, if you don't have any of those items and you can't recall any of your account numbers, do you know you're going to be treated the same as a homeless person? Even if you have $1 million, you're going to be treated the same as a homeless person. Okay, let me tell you the story about my stupid ass mother from 2 years ago. Okay, she lived, in Kennydale, Texas. She owned her mobile home, and she had a large amount in savings. She had right at $136,000 when she passed away in September of 2023. All right, about 7 months before that, this idiot's old contract that was in his mid 80s back then, which all he did, he'd go out joyriding every day in this new SUV she bought. You know, he was just mooching off of her. He got SSI of about 850 a month. He was just mooching off of her for years and years and years and years and years. But of course, she couldn't see that she was an idiot. Okay, a lot of people are idiots like that. But they keep an a-hole around that is just a parasite, that they think that's love. Well, anyway, he's going out to that, what car? Dodge Journey SUV, yeah, that she bought new in the year 2014. He's going out there to get in it and he falls down, and there's some of those concrete squares, that they had put there. I forget, but they're like 4 inches thick. It's so to keep it from being muddy, it's to where you can have two rows of them to where you can drive a vehicle. And he falls down, and he breaks his left leg between the ankle or slightly above the ankle. He lays there for hours because the idiot, he didn't even have a fucking cell phone. Can you imagine people that damn stupid with the kind of money she had, but didn't even have a fucking cell phone? Idiots, total idiots. Never mind my anger here. I'm going to get to the point of what can happen to you people if you don't listen to what I'm telling you. Because this is it actually happened to her. It actually happened what I kept warning her about. Well, anyway, when he broke his leg, someone finally noticed and they called him an ambulance. Okay. Well, of course, people on SSI, they get Medicaid to where they can go to the best hospital. They get better benefits than people that draw or for medical. They get better medical than people that are retired on full benefits. It's not fair. It's fucked up, actually. But he goes to the hospital, or they take him to the hospital. They put a metal rod in his legs, and put a cast on his leg and all that. And after 3 days, they send him home. Okay, he's in this wheelchair, that he bought or something. I don't know where the hell he got it. Yeah, you can buy a wheelchair. You used to could, I think, 150 at a drugstore. But he's in the front of that truck. I'm talking to her on the phone. He's talking all this bullshit to his son and some other idiot that was there. And then he claims that he had to go back to some facility and that they had to keep him for 33 days to help his leg heal. Now, okay, I think that was made up. I think what he did is he went up to Oklahoma the way he would do all the time anyway and just stayed with some of his family for 33 days. And I'll tell you why. Because he wanted her to die. So during that 33 days. Why? Because my stupid mother, that dumbass put him in this will to receive 80% of all of her money in the bond, which would leave him with right at 8,000, after it was divided up, a lot of money, a lot of damn money, for just a mooch, an old contractor mooch that never even paid into his Social Security. He was the type person, he never filled out an income tax return in his entire life, never paid into Social Security. But this type mooch piece of shit was living off of her. And during that 33 days, I said, Mom, he's not in no rehab place or care facility. I said, he's just staying with family, Mom, in Oklahoma. He wants you to die because you don't have anybody there to take care of. I kept telling her that. And I said, Mom, why don't you come to Houston, to my place? I have a big house. It's close to the Bayshore Medical Center, which is the medical capital of the world, by the way. I said, come here and nothing will happen to you. And I said, Mom, what are your bank account numbers? I need this information, to write it down or whatever in case something happens to you. Well, let me look. And she'd uh, look around or whatever. She couldn't find a bank statement with her checking account number. I said, Mom, do you even know your savings account number? Well, no, Sid's got that stuff with him. He keeps it with him. And I said, Mom, do you have any of your credit cards? Well, no, Sid keeps that with him, or what. And I said, Mom, don't you see what that son of a bitch has done? He's kept your identity from you to where you can't access. And I told her, I said, if you was out there, you had to be rushed to a hospital. Here's what they're going to do. Being you have no credentials on, you don't have any ID, any credit cards, any bank account number. They're going to take you to the closest county hospital. Okay. That's what's going to happen. And if you can't produce any of that information, say, Mom, here's what would happen. They're going to treat you the same as if you're a homeless person, Mom. And I said, basically, you could call yourself a rich person, because her SS benefits were like 1,700 a month, and then you figure that 136,000. I said, basically, you've got more than most people do. But I said, being that you don't know any of this information, uh, you would be treated like a homeless person, and they're just going to ignore you because many people they can be arrested or they can wind up in an accident or go to a hospital. They will mumble all this bullshit out. Oh, I've got a house, I got bank accounts, all this, and just make it up. But if you can't produce proof of that, they know people are liars. A lot of people are on drugs or alcoholics, or they just lie, to try to get something free or to cover for themselves. Things are hiding. They're just going to treat you as a homeless person and put you in some facility dungeon somewhere and ignore you. And said, oh no, no, Sid wouldn't let that happen. I'd just get them to call him. And I said, how, Mom? He doesn't even have a fucking cell phone. Well, I'm sure he would be at home to answer the phone. See, a fucking idiot, a damn idiot. Well, here's what got her killed. See, her own ignorance caused her to get killed. See, he was just playing her. See, he was keeping all that information with him. Because even though he couldn't get the money she had in the bank, her checking and such, she couldn't get it. But but he could use those credit cards, or whatever. A lot of places will accept them. You can give them any kind of credit card. You can be a man using a female name, like Jane Doe, and be John Doe, and just sign it. They just take it or whatever, and they don't question it. As long as it goes through that scanner and you do a signature, ta-da. And a lot of times these days, you use the tap method on the latest card. There is no signature. Okay. So there you go. But, I tried to warn her about this. See, he was hiding her identity from her. But even if he would have been an honest person, if he would have been honest, he would have wanted her to keep her identity, those documents on her person or accessible under her mattress or something to have these documents. And I said, Mom, you could call Chase Bank right now. And if you can't tell them your checking account number or savings number, they're not going to be able to help you. I said, so you're the same right now, Mom, as a homeless person without a penny, even though you have a fortune, you see. People, you have to have your identity on you. Like, you know, some things can be helpful. Like if you have fingerprints on file, to a criminal, that's the worst thing that could exist, having your fingerprints on file. But to a person like me, if you offer for police and law enforcement to have a copy of your fingerprints on file, if you're not a criminal, do you know that will benefit you? Because that way, if anybody ever commits a crime in your area, someone lies, said it was you. Well, if you have backup prints on file that match your current fingerprints, guess what? The charges are never going to happen at all. And it's proof of identity, people. It's proof of identity. Your fingerprints, you see? And always keep a document, like my mom had a driver's license that was about 10 years old because she didn't ever get it renewed. She couldn't because of her physical condition. And her looks had changed. I said, Mom, that's useless. And she went to look for that and said, well, I can't find Sid must have that too. People, right now, if something happened to me, I would be able to tell any hospital, no matter what accident I was in, okay, fingerprints are on file. I'd be able to tell them my checking account number, my savings account number. A lot of people don't have that much of a memory, or they might, due to the accident, they might not be able to grasp that or remember it. You have to have access to that somewhere. Now, don't trust idiots or your kids or a relative. You have to have access to that information hidden somewhere or find a way. But if something happens to you and they're like, we can't find any identity on this person, that your identity can be proven. That's very, very, very important. But here's what happened. It was September 11th, 2023. She had to call an ambulance. She had no damn identity on her. And so they just left her out on the lobby, and then three people there, a nurse told me about it, Irma Chavez or whatever. And they didn't treat her because they think, should we send her to county hospital or what? And they put a ventilator mask on her. Guess what? She fucking died. So she wouldn't listen to me. She ignored me. You have to have a way to identify yourself, people. See, she couldn't identify herself with her, she used Aetna Medicare plan, Aetna Medicare HMO plan. It was accepted at Hughley Hospital in Fort Worth, but she didn't have it with her, and she didn't have her member number, ID memorized. She didn't have it written down because idiot shit that was gone for 33 days. She said, oh, he has it. So she tries to get them to use their phone to call him. No fucking answer because he wasn't at her damn trailer. And these morons didn't have a cell phone, you know? So there you go. See, what can happen will happen if you're a dumbass in this life. People, you have to think ahead in case something happens. You've got to think ahead. Think about your proof of identity. But here's something maybe y'all can help me with. If I was ever in a horrible accident or whatever, well, I mean, other than when I was born 69 years ago, see, I have my sense of humor. If I can't, if I am not mentally able at that time to produce like what's called some to recite, tell my savings account number or my Medicare, you know, supplement number or HMO number. How could I arrange it to where I could prove my identity if I wasn't mentally functional? Now, my fingerprints are on file because I chose that. That's very, very important, people. If you're a criminal, it will work against you. If you're not a criminal, it will work for you. Okay? It will work for you. Thing. But what else? Well, I'm a wonderful person, and y'all know that I'm beautiful. See, I'm y'all's personal movie star. Okay, whatever. That good stuff with a cherry on top. But anyway, y'all give thought to this. And this, I told y'all this. Don't be an idiot like my mother was. See, that cost her life because she wouldn't fucking listen to it. You know? Think about what I'm telling. And look at all the money she was worth. But it didn't do her any good. Well, I don't know what my social security is. Well, I don't know what my bank account number is. Sid's got it with him. See, when she died, he got all that fucking money. An old mooch, a piece of shit. That guy, he should have been killed 50 fucking years ago. He was nothing but a parasite. He was using her. But anyway, later, later, people.